I like these calm little moments before the storm. It reminds me of Beethoven.
Beethoven.
Good old Beethoven.
Well, welcome everybody. Hope everybody's having a good evening. We'll wait till more people get in the chat here. But anywho, we'll get this ball rolling. Beard, how's it going, man?
It's warm. And it's not even like hot in here. Like you feel like, it's worth it. It's just that uncomfortable warm thing. So if I just turn my camera off and probably wipe sweat off underneath my hat. So other than that, I'm doing great.
Well,
this time of year, things just can't keep up. The heat always wins. I don't care what type of AC you have, especially if you're in an old building like myself.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, my air conditioner does pretty good. It's cold in the house right now, so
that's pretty good now.
That's it. I'm out.
Mando, how's it going?
Hello. It's the going. I swear the building is not on fire. This is just an optical illusion. I'm not burning down.
This is fine.
This is fine. We're fine. This is all fine. Yeah, doing good. Just hopefully so my friends that I'm house sitting for will be coming back like Wednesday, Thursday, so like not tomorrow. Well, maybe tomorrow like late night, early Thursday. So yeah, I'll make sure that I rebuild the house in time for the them to come back. So the house isn't burned down.
Coats of paint on there,
Yeah, I'll fix it right up. The cats are fine.
Little missing hair, but they're fine.
Just a little singe.
And Matt, the Unbearables. What's up?
Nothing much. A quiet night in New Jersey, nothing horrible. How you all doing?
Not too
You
bad.
almost sound disappointed that it's a quiet night, Matt.
Yeah, I know. I'm used to like fires and crime and disasters,
Now you're just bored.
No, I'm actually a little annoyed, I
Do you want me to go set some more fires, Matt? Is that really what you want?
You can burn Blizzard down for me. I will be happy about that. Because out of nowhere, like an add-on that's been working perfectly for 6 years without even a patch, just suddenly stopped working. I'm like, what? I've ruined your day. When you it's a little add-on and ruins your day.
And for the first time, welcoming Nick from the Plot Strikes Back. Welcome, sir.
Hello. It's great to be here. Nice to meet some new people.
Likewise.
It's I don't know if people don't know this, but I'm in Florida, so Beard, I definitely hear you on the heat scale of things. It's kind of
Southeast Texas, so you know the humidity too, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we've dodged dodged one hurricane already
this year.
Yeah, this year, but a lot of rain. But hurricane season's still going until like November, so there's still plenty of time. I think there's one that's on the way, so we'll kind of see what happens. I mean, hopefully we won't have a hurricane party this year, but we'll see.
I mean, I grew up in South Alabama, and I remember every year there was at least a tropical storm. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, got to have at least one tropical storm or depression that comes by, and it's like you kind of just have a little bit of a drinking party or something like that.
Go outside and watch the cows flying.
Yeah, the last one that actually came by here, I was sort of driving through it on the interstate, so that was fun. Not my first time doing that either, but yeah, that was fun. I was like, oh great, I'm going to be driving through some heavy rain and some wind, so goody. I survived, obviously.
I mean, if you didn't, you look good for a dead guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just some revival spell.
Oh, you have a scroller revivify? Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Need one of those.
Yeah, the Lord of Light revived me.
Ah, I see.
Oh.
So you must be a cleric then?
Yeah, paladins are fun class of mine. I like to play in MMOs and such. So
I haven't played a paladin yet, but I'm thinking about my next run on BG3. Like I'm gonna do a paladin.
Yeah, there are some fun paladin builds on BG3. Fun stuff. Definitely a good game.
If anybody can hear me, I'm having some internet issues.
Okay, we heard that.
You heard that, yes.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do, because I get the feeling that Mando and Nick here could talk this for a while.
I mean, I can just go grab
like
my bag of
like
dice.
shield wall, and you do sometimes when we're in the after show.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll do what needs to be done.
I mean,
People
who
show up
doesn't
for
like
like
Dungeons and Dragons? Okay, like calm down.
People show up for like a Chicago gangster Al Capone movie, and they get Dungeons and Dragons.
It's turned into D&D.
I mean, who hasn't played like a 1930s mob or 1930s 50s mob D&D campaign?
I'm about to.
That'd actually be pretty cool. I've never done that actually, but that would be fun.
Yes. One of the
Yeah,
campaigns I'm on right now is
the 24th. I'm starting to stream on doing that. So
very cool.
So anyhow, the Untouchables.
Great movie.
Untouchables.
Great movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Not to be confused with The Incredibles.
Or what's the one with all the macho men?
I just want to say the music for this movie is really good. I enjoyed the music.
There were a couple times though where I felt like the music was a little too loud, like compared to the scene. For me,
I agree with that, and I have a comment about that. Although I think this was a great score for the movie, like it really kept you in the pacing. But I think so. There are a couple of different versions. I don't mean like director's cut or whatever, but I mean like how they burned it to the disc, so to speak, or how they copied it for streaming. And I think the original intended was like some 1980s, 90s Dolby THX 7.9 theater, blah, 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 blah. And I think until they remaster it and manually fix it, there are going to be parts that just shoot up.
Okay. Yeah, because there was just a couple times where I'm just like, oh, this music is like, it's fine. It's just really loud.
Yeah, like it's going on normal, and all of a sudden it just shoots up. Like, you know, yeah.
Yeah, some of the shots too were good. Like this part, this shot
like
here is
that
pretty
opening.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great opening.
And what's he doing? He's getting a manicure, a pedicure, and getting a shave all at the same time.
Well, that's what they used to do at old time barbershops. Like it wasn't just like you getting your hair done. Like you got like full 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus he's Al Capone.
And if you're Al Capone, yeah, exactly.
Basically the mayor of the city without being the mayor of the city. Like the mayor of the city is in your back pocket, mayor of the city.
Yeah. Hey, Beard, why don't you read this for us here?
All right. Let me blow this screen up a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying to balance some audio things on my end here. 1930. Prohibition has transformed Chicago into a city at war. Rival gangs compete for control of the city's billion-dollar empire of illegal alcohol, enforcing their will of the land, grenade with the hand grenade and Tommy gun. It is the time of the gang lords. It is the time of Al Capone.
Now that is overstating the actual historical effect, okay? Because almost no one actually obeyed prohibition, and the government, and other than like high stakes, like I mean, Capone made a lot of money, but they didn't go after him just because of prohibition. They went after him because he was a powerful murdering scumbag. You know, but like, I mean, he killed. He came out. I'm trying to remember. This guy's like lore in my family, so I'm just trying to remember the whole sequence of events. I don't want to detract the whole show from it. You know what I mean? But like, he came from the East Coast, or the Southeast. And he was so brutal he got chased out of where he was. I'm trying to remember the whole story here. Wow. Yeah, so he was on the East Coast, and I don't remember if it was Jersey or like Baltimore area, and he was brutal. Like he was like a goon type guy, and he rose to power being a goon, and he was so brutal he got chased out of the East Coast, right? So then he goes to the Midwest and makes a deal, becomes a partner with a couple other guys, and then again he kills his way to the top, right? And he's a murderous, powerful goon, and that's where we wind up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, this is a nice little touch that we get right here at the beginning, because you got these reporters around him that are holding him in such high regard and asking, like, treating him just like he's the savior of the city. And then when he turns his head right here and gets that cut, the reaction of the barber tells you more about the reality, because that guy knows who he's actually dealing with.
Well,
yeah, he's like, I might not be dead right now, but I'm a dead man.
No. I want to clarify this scene, okay? He's not reacting because the barber wounded him. Because he got cut. He's instinctively saying this could be a hit attempt, and the barber's like, "Oh my God, do you think I'm actually? I'm here to hit him." You know
Cut
what I
his
mean?
neck.
Yeah. So this isn't because Capone had a reputation. He didn't mess with, like, if you were good with him, like, they kept your mouth shut, did what he said. He didn't mess with regular people. Like he knew where the bread was buttered, because he came with the grunts. But it was his, like, business rival that he would murder left and right. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
These old school mob guys, I don't want to justify it, but the first couple of generations of mob guys, the bosses, they knew to keep, like, they would get, like in the Depression, every corner in my neighborhood, the mob guys would deposit coal in the corner for all the people to use, you know. And if you had problems with like non-organized crime, like regular street criminals, you told the mob guys and they disappeared, you know, because they came up from their family. They wanted, the original mob was like any other original gang. They started as like community protector organizations type of things, and then they get bad about 2 generations in when they realize they could exploit everyone. You know, the first generation of guys get killed off, like, you know. Yeah, which is scary because some of these mob guys, I don't want to justify the feds either, but some of the earliest, like, federal marshals and FBI guys were basically mob guys who got, like, the same type of people who would be in a mob, but they got into the feds. You know?
Oh yeah.
You know, like machine gunning people down and all that. You know,
it's like going further back in history. It's like privateers are still just pirates who had the law on their side.
Yeah. That's exactly the best analogy for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The days you could send your kid down to the bar and get some beer.
Yes, when it was safe, except for the bombs.
Yeah.
Right. You forgot something, mister.
As soon as because this unsurprisingly, for anybody who knows me, Nick, you might not. I don't watch movies, so this was a first watch for me. I've seen plenty of clips from it, but as soon as she turned around and said, like, "Oh, mister," I thought, "Oh no, this isn't going to end well."
Well, I mean, like, to be honest, she wouldn't have gotten far anyway from the bar. Like, if she had not grabbed that guy's bag and like, she was going to get caught in the blast either way.
Yeah. But the dialogue before, where, you know, the bartender, the shopkeep, because he can't really run a bar. The shopkeep is, you know, denying the beer purchase, and nobody from the mob just says, "Okay, never mind, it's all good." Nothing good comes after that.
We won't come back.
Salty says, "I used to get liquor for Grandpa with a note and a $5 bill. Small towns in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I mean, it's a small town. Like, a lot of, like, if it's a small enough town, like, you can still do most of those things.
Even when I was, like, I'm 51 now, and so my teen years would have been like 88 to like 98, you know, the late 80s, early 90s. We were 14 and 15. We could go into a bar right out of high school and they would disturb us. Like it was really like the generation after us. We said, "You guys got screwed." like got screwed.
Yeah.
You know, we can. You know, this is funny. When I was a kid, I still had relatives with stuff like that in their houses.
Yeah, I think that's one of like the interesting things about this movie is when you see, like, the decor in these houses, it's so old timey. And I mean, yeah, unless you're like a certain age, like I was born in 85, so I got to see some of that from some of the, like, northern relatives I have. Like, my Italian ancestors lived up in like in Rhode Island, like in Providence. And you know, seeing some of, like, the buildings there, and, you know, definitely reminded me a lot of what what was in this movie, and it's just crazy. Like the old showers with like the circular curtains. It's just like, couldn't imagine taking a shower in that right now. It's just crazy.
Now, I should say at this point, and I'll point out some differences as we go. Although I never read the book, I only read like the summaries of it. So this is based on Ness's book, his memoirs, basically, that was published the year he died. And the first thing they did was the Untouchables TV show, but basically, the memo is only about getting Capone. Because once he got Capone, he was shipped off as the end of his movie show somewhere else, right? Then they spun the whole TV show off of, which is a whole other issue we could talk about. I'd be curious about controversy later. But they do take liberties with the way events played out historically in this movie. Just to say it that way,
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like one of my relatives, when we watched this, and he was actually in the organization, but like he was a bookie. And he goes, "What the fuck? They killed that guy? My grandpa worked with him for 40 years."
Mildly accurate.
I love how he's like, don't drink. I don't care
Yeah,
what you do off duty, but don't drink from now on. No more drinking.
And you might not know this culturally. They do allude to it later. Almost every one of those cops is Irish.
Mm.
My ancestors.
With a couple of English and Scottish thrown in. I believe the official ban on Italians joining like the police ended in the early 20s, but there are actually laws against us joining the police up until like 1920 or so. They unearthed the police station in New York that when they restored it, right, to the stonework from all the crap that went over it, they found the dedication stone where it said established in whatever. Italians and blacks need not apply was carved into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is a great little setup.
They also
for
have
Ness here because it's very clear he's very much an idealist. Because he thinks like even when he's in front of the reporters, he's like, I'm gonna do this, and nobody really cares what he's saying. They just want to ask the stupid questions. Press never changes. And then he gets in here and that line about nobody has a drop to drink. I know you have, but we've got to be above the law. It's like setting him up to be this absolute idealist that works in an ideal world, but we don't live in an ideal world, and most movies don't even happen in an ideal world. So
yeah,
that's not going to work out for a while.
In reality, he should be thinking, how many of these guys are on Capone's payroll?
Except he doesn't have that
the whole
mindset.
police force.
Most of them.
The whole police force, man. Like, let's be honest.
Like they're sitting there listening to him going like, I don't give a damn what this guy's saying right now because I'm getting paid by Al.
Right. Like you can just tell like from the moment he walks in. And of course this is like with any place, like somebody knew, oh, we don't trust him immediately. But on top of this guy being new in the feds, like he's trying to get rid of Capone, who's making sure that we have money.
Yep.
Oh, and this movie plays with this. Although Ness grew up and was in Chicago, so he knew what was going on in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was why he was sent back there, so to speak.
But yeah, they're waiting to make a bust, some Canadian whiskey, because he's had a guy on the inside.
Yep.
And it should not have told all those police officers about it.
Right. Like, but at the same time, it was good that he did that so he could realize, like, oh, I can't trust none of these fools.
It works thematically, and also works within the character that's presented in the movie. Maybe not the realistic character.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't just go ahead and assume that everybody was being paid, or at least most, because it only takes a couple of them to ruin everything.
I think it's kind of funny that when he grabs the camera guy, the photographer here, like flashes him in his face. It's like, dude, I'm sure other people that were watching saw that, and it's like that would have been like a prime moment for something bad to really happen there, or like to get away like from something that, with like illegal activity. But he didn't know it was a guy trying to take a photo for the press.
Yeah. and say goodbye to your night vision.
I
Right?
know.
There's
Your
no way he
eyesight's
would have been able to
shot.
spot that guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how historically accurate it is to use a snowplow to bash open doors during this time period, but I like it.
I mean, it makes sense if you don't have anything
Mhm.
else.
I mean, it's no
a-
killdozer, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a useful tool. I guess even when you're not plowing snow, right? If you need to
Yeah.
break through something, but it's like the result is hilarious, not in his favor because it's
Yes.
umbrellas, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least in
Yeah.
that one crate.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and yeah, what makes it worse is he's so sure about this is he takes that annoying photographer and allows him in because he wants that win
glory.
documented.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like-
even if
it's
it's
a little
not,
prideful.
even if it's not prideful and about glory, if we're going to be a little bit more kind of generous, maybe about sending a message because Capone would see it in the newspaper.
Yep.
But yeah, there's definitely some pride in there.
Yeah.
Well, some of it's also he's on a political mission, so publicizing a victory is good for. Because remember, he's working for who was it? They called them special prosecutors now. It was a U.S. attorney who was specially assigned to the all the organization he's in eventually became the ATF. Keep that in mind. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was but it wasn't like a real organization. It was just assigned people, and the head of it was a couple of what do you call them? U.S. attorneys, and so that guy was a political guy, and so they wanted publicity, basically. It's really weird the stuff they would use from like how he depicted it like in real life versus what they changed in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Poor guy.
Crusader
Yeah.
Cup busts out.
All of his hopes and dreams were busted.
I like what he does with this though, like in the coming scene though.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Motivation.
Yeah, he's like, okay, this is going to be fuel for my fire. I don't care what any of these other cops think. And I kind of wondered by that point if he thought, someone might be there to foil his plans or kind of like, thwart his progression to do what he's trying to do on this like sort of like mission here.
Right.
The great
And we get
one of the
our
greatest men ever.
Scotsman who identifies as Irishman in this movie.
Well, at least this time he's not Egyptian Spanish.
Right.
Jacob and I had a conversation about this movie before, and we were like anyone could have played Kevin Costner's role better than Kevin Costner, But Sean Connery was like the center of the movie.
Yeah, I don't remember which stream I was on where somebody said it, but one of us was saying what we were doing for today, and somebody said, "Oh, Kevin Costner's best movie but it's not because of Kevin Costner."
Yeah,
something along those lines.
I like this part where he kind of gives the policeman lip, and he comes up and pushes at him with his stick. He's like, "Okay, what's with the mahogany?"
Sure, excuse me, sir. What's with the mahogany?
Yeah. And then there was the like one of the best lines of the movie comes up like, oh yeah, who would say they're a treasury agent?
Right? Who claims that?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm in the Treasury Department. Okay.
Okay.
And?
Should I be concerned?
Yeah.
I paid my taxes, so nope.
It's like, could he have still arrested him, I guess, maybe?
He's a federal agent, so yes.
Yeah.
He probably could
sort
have.
of.
He got
There's
released,
probably
obviously, but
yeah. There's probably some legality somewhere, some loophole, something saying you can't like arrest a cop or something about unless you have like lots of incriminating evidence or something.
yeah.
This is a really good.
I
Just
wonder
this
what-
entire
what
scene
were
is
the-
really good back and forth though, because it's the idealist that Ness has been set up as, and he's at his lowest point in meeting a guy who is old enough that he should not be walking a beat, but is very clearly streetwise and very nonchalant and just not worried about stuff because he knows he's smarter than a lot of people in the room. Maybe not the smartest man, but he's definitely more observant than a lot of other people.
Yeah. I think most of the scenes and conversations that Sean Connery has, the dialogue is just great.
Mhm.
Especially when he meets when he meets Mr. Stone.
Mhm.
Giuseppe,
I like this one.
I like this one. Oh man, I can't wait to get to that scene.
Stone.
Stone, what's your real name?
Stone.
What was your name before you changed it?
Salty's whipping out.
This
the
kind
Sean
of threw
Connery
me a
joke.
little bit.
Keep up with
Is
the
this a
jokes.
kid or a midget?
I think it's a kid, but it is still a very small kid.
Yeah, it looks
Timmy,
like
it's your 9th birthday. I got you a job.
I mean, they did that back then.
yeah.
Yep.
There weren't child labor laws.
Before those laws
In
ruined things.
87? What?
Working for someone's parents or family, whatever.
Oh, we
Yeah, I
can't
like the way
send
that
kids to the coal mines anymore.
I like this whole scene here of the kid picks up the newspapers and it goes to this guy who gets a newspaper.
They might make more tips, because of like the sympathetic gratitude. I don't know.
Didn't we have a cookie here?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of setting things up so we can see what's happening.
Are the days when movies would show and not tell. Just let a scene play out. You
Yeah.
don't have to
Mhm.
talk all the time.
Yeah, especially 2 or 3, 4 times. It's like, no, we saw it once. That was it. We can
Yeah.
store it in our minds, and we see how things unfold.
Wow,
I'm just
morning
gonna say this:
cigar,
the
breakfast in bed.
guy that plays the Penguin in the Batman movie.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
What's it?
Oh my God. What am I forgetting his
Danny
name?
DeVito.
No.
No.
No, the
Colin
new
Farrell. Colin Farrell.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah,
looks like Robert
looks
Downey.
just like
Robert De Niro.
yeah.
That face is like really iconic though. I feel like when like in a lot of his movies, he always does that same sort of face, minus like the cigar though.
Oh yeah, like that's
Yeah.
that's his iconic like face.
yeah.
Hey fucker.
Exactly.
Taxi
And then he's gonna
driver.
smack somebody or something.
Yeah. You talking to me?
I forgot to tell you, Nick. We're family friendly, so.
Oh yeah, no, that was FOCKER the way I said it.
Oh,
but, yeah.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
from the movie.
Okay.
Meet the Fockers. Yeah.
I do agree with what you said earlier, Nick, about what he does with this headline here. He takes the embarrassing moment and he uses it as a reminder.
That thumbtack, right? Just it's like,
Yeah.
and I love the way he looks at everyone. He's just like,
Yeah,
What?
that defiant, like, what? What are you going to do?
I know I messed up.
it's like
Be
this
on your way.
clear-
Be on your business.
Mhm.
It's a cool like cinematography like moment there because it's almost like I think for today, like it's like a picture in picture in picture. You kind of just see through the layers of these office buildings, and that just multiple people are affected by it, and they kind of just everyone can kind of see what he's setting up to do, and then as if he doesn't really think it's an embarrassing moment because I think he's using it to fuel his own passion project here. And then the poor girl's mother who died
Oh.
is right here, and it's like, yeah, now everyone else should feel real bad because here's this girl's mother that's coming in to talk to him about everything, and just
The other I forgot to make this point earlier because the cops made fun of him for saying, let's do some good. I feel like what the angle he should have gone with is an innocent child was murdered. You all are supposed to like protect. And you have allowed your corruption to take away a young life instead of saying, let's do good. It's like give them something specific because they're all dum-dums. Like, let's be honest. Most of them are dum-dums.
I think that's still playing into how idealistic he is, because doing good is all the motivation he thinks you need to do to be a public servant, be a police officer, something like that. I don't think at that moment he believes that he needed to provide more motivation.
Yeah.
Got to be ready for that with your double barrel shotgun, people.
Howdy, cannoli.
Hey, cannoli.
I love the way he like approaches the door though. Like you don't even see at first that he has like the shotgun kind of like hidden behind the door that he like slightly opens like just in case, but he's just ready. It's just that's experience.
Well, also like he knows things
like that.
Yeah.
That's
I've got
called
this
relative
shotgun
protection
behind
to
the
old
door,
age.
sir.
Have to make sure I'm protected.
I mean, a door shotgun's the only real reason to have an umbrella stand anymore.
Right?
Just keep it right there by the front door.
Yeah.
Actually, no, nobody do that. That's not smart.
No.
YouTube, that is called a joke. A joke. We are doing jokes.
No, you keep it in your record player.
I mean,
jokes.
I was going to say slung across your back at all times, but whatever.
It's an interesting.
I mean, you can't go like this and just like bring it out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So
this is my boomstick.
So the lighting, like when we're watching this on camera, the internal lighting of inside rooms, even in daylight, is like more modern. They'd be way darker back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with the windows that they have, it would be dark. And if they turned on a lamp, it would be a lot warmer because of the old incandescents.
Yeah.
I love this. As he's trying to, get him to come help him do his job, he's looking at his relatives' pictures, and they're all police officers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. Yeah.
Oh, I noticed even like all of the photo, like all of the frames that have pictures in them are all of police officers that I've like.
Well,
that
and
seen.
he was also fiddling with his chain that has a cigar punch, his post key, and I forget which saint it was. Lost Causes and Police Officers.
Lost
something
Causes.
like that.
Jude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The patron saint of the hopeless and the infirm.
Right,
as the Jesuits pointed out to us when we were in high school. He's your patron saint.
And like tells him, I'm a beat cop. I want to stay alive. That's why I'm a beat cop.
Yep. Basically admitting to him, I'm a coward.
Yeah.
I'm old and a coward.
He does indirectly call himself that later on.
Well, and I mean, like, if we're being honest, like, I can't imagine the mental and emotional toll it must take to be the only good person in the entire law enforcement office. Like, how long? Like, I bet you in the beginning he was probably very much an idealist, like, wanting to do, like, walk the straight and narrow. But, like, after a certain time, like, that just has to wear on you. And like, he's a beat cop for a reason. He probably tried really hard to do the right thing, and they kept him there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's honestly one of my favorite characters.
I love him so much.
The accountant.
Yeah. The accountant.
I live it.
Was he FBI or was he
Yes.
Treasury too?
No, he was FBI. The Bureau
Fed.
sent him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just so funny to see him because he's like the guy you'd least suspect to do any sort of like damage you know, like
Yes.
and obviously there's that one scene where he just
Kinda goes
down.
crazy.
Yeah, it just like snaps and he's just kind of pulls out this this different side of him, we'll just say.
I mean, but it's also kind of funny because from the get-go, he is already pitching the idea of going after Capone for taxes. And it takes a long time, no matter how many times he says it, for Ness to actually even consider it.
Yep.
And to be honest, I'm sure Ness probably was like, we're not going to get the most dangerous man in Chicago for taxes. But, like, if you can nail him for something, it gives other people enough time to, like, maybe investigate some other stuff. Like,
So here's a interesting legal thing, right? So we're not too much long past the point when income taxes were made constitutional, and they were still trying to legally determine what was legal, what they could tax you on, and all that. So in the 1920s, the U.S. government decided, hey, we want more tax money. So let's and all these rich people have like illegal gains. So let's see if we can tax them on it, right? And eventually went to the Supreme Court and they're like, yeah, you could even you owe taxes even on illegally earned money, right? And it only slipped into Capone because they were like, wait, we have to get it by some means, right? But it wasn't like they said, let's get him to tax. They were going after everyone earning illegal tax money, even if it was just like regular gambling or whatever, you know, or if you had a job off the books and you were rich, type of stuff.
government wants that money.
Yeah, the inevitable progress of the stupid income tax.
Yeah, but Malone shows up and wants to talk to Ness, and first, the only thing out of his mouth is not here. You know, like too many ears, or the walls have ears, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he knows his entire force is
so
crooked.
They go to the church and have a little heart to heart, and he basically says, like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna have to do it the Chicago way.
Yep.
He says like, you know, he comes with a knife, you come after him with a gun. He puts one of your guys in a hospital, you put one of his in the ground.
What does he say? You like made a blood pact, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he recognizes just how much of an idealist and by the books person that Ness is, telling him you're not going to be able to win that way. Yep. You're not going to be able to survive that way.
Your family will not be able to survive that way, which we come to find out. They go after your family.
They do threaten them, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Or kill them.
I like those split focus shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's a weird thing. I mean, I've never done cinematography, but I've done photography or still photography, and yeah, it always catches my eye.
Yeah, I like what he says here too. If you don't want a rotten apple, don't go to the barrel, go to the tree.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, that was
a great line.
Yes. And it's very true.
And actually, yeah, the end of the church scene is where he says, like, God hates a coward or whatever. That's like when he finally admits that he had been being a coward for so many years.
He's probably feeling his mortality. Maybe his wife's already dead or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this whole scene's great. He's like, who are your best shooters? And he's like, I forget the other guy's name, but Malone and
Stone.
I remember the other dude's name.
Stone. Jacob, I think we're stuck a few clicks back because we're still sitting in the church.
Oh, yeah,
we're still in the church.
Okay.
Take me to church.
Yeah, it's been delaying a little bit, but it's not been that far
There we
back.
go. And it finally
got
moved.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a brilliant move. You go to people who haven't been on the streets and had a chance to really get paid off yet, because why pay off the recruits if you don't know that they're going to end up actually passing and being police officers?
Yep.
And I love what he says about this guy. He's like, the new chief of police right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he keeps like reciting like the main things, or it's like, what is your duty? And it's like to do this and blah 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 blah. And it's like, yeah,
I don't want the book answer. I want your answer.
This is not what we're looking for, bud.
Yeah, because he goes from like trying to remember the book answer to when he actually has to come up with an original thought, still stammering. when that should be the easy part because you're not trying to recite something you memorize. That should be just your own thoughts.
Yep.
Exactly.
Which means
doesn't
he has
exist
no
outside
thoughts.
of the book. Yep.
Yep.
He's been.
He has no thoughts outside of the books.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably just a job to him. Like, his dad's probably a cop. He's, you're going to work in the police force like me, kiddo.
Yeah. Memorize his book. Do
That
as
was-
you're told.
Hey, Dad, they gave us this book in the police academy. Throw it in the fire.
See this book? Don't listen to it.
You'll be a
Now-
better cop for it.
Like I said before, this anti-Italian thing was real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Which, I watched this movie again back when COVID first happened, and I'm sure like most of us, we just kind of went on like movie binges. But I recently watched it again, and I kind of forgot how many times the derogatory remark towards Italians was used. But being Italian, I wasn't really offended by it, obviously, because I'm like, I know it's true, and I'm like, that's true, so I'm not really offended by it whatsoever. So,
I mean,
Factual, I guess.
he calls him a dirty Irish pig. Like it
Yeah.
like it just shows the level of racism that like
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
back then had, and it
Yeah.
wasn't just towards like black and white. It was,
Well, no.
are you this or this?
This is still real racism. Race used to mean ethnicity. And
Yeah,
it was the
right.
anti-ethnic stuff. And it was the modern, not to get too political, but it was the modern, race scripters who turned it into skin color,
Yep.
Because like I remember, I was grew up in the 70s and 80s and all that, and I was still remember being told, Matt, you can't trust those Irish bleeps. I remember being told that.
He's like, oh, I like
I'm
it.
like, okay. And then when my aunt married an Irish guy, the community was like, do we expel her? Literally.
What, do we get rid of her? Do we keep her? What do we do?
I kind of want to know where he was hiding that extra revolver in those sweatpants. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got them all riled up because he called him out for not being named George Stone.
It
Right?
was,
Like I know that's
just-
not your real name.
Not
Yeah,
Stone.
Giuseppe
Stone.
PSV.
Stone.
Yeah, it's Giuseppe something or other. And yeah, and then that's when he lays on the racism to get him all fired up.
Petri. Petri.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you see, I love that scene though, because his face, Giuseppe's face, like turns like real quick, and he's like,
Bring it.
Yeah.
gun to the throat. He's just like, what
And-
now?
I'm
I
ready to throw
think
it out.
actually throughout the movie, I don't know if Malone ever calls him George or Stone. Maybe Stone a couple of times, but he definitely calls him Giuseppe a couple of times, which I think shows actually a level of respect
Yeah.
for somebody that societally he's supposed to hate.
Yes. I think he's just like,
Okay.
we're all trying to be real here. So like we all in turn want to be like real with each other. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm going to call you by your real name because I respect you. I like you. I like your
Yeah.
attitude. I like what we're doing here. We're on the same page. Whereas even though you're Italian, I'm Irish, we're on that same level of attitude.
Mm-hmm. Like
Now-
I need to be able to trust you with my life. Like
Exactly.
I don't care where your ancestors came from. Can you shoot this gun very well? Good.
We're on a mission
Okay, I
here.
don't care.
And poor accountant Oscar Wallace comes walking in and gets recruited at the literal end of a shotgun. He's like, you got your shield, or he's like, all right, come on, just put down the paperwork, pick up the gun.
Okay, so
I like what he
Love
does.
it.
He kind of he looks at the paperwork and looks at the shotgun. It's like,
Alright.
the shotgun.
Mhm. Of course, anyone
so-
in their right mind between doing paperwork and getting to shoot things.
It-
Of course, I want to shoot things.
in reality, two things to note. There were more than 4 of them
Yeah,
in
well,
real
this is
life,
like-
and the
They're going to the
1950s
bank.
TV show had more of them as well.
No, it's the
Like,
post office.
Yeah.
They're at the post office, not the
Oh,
bank.
post office. Sorry. Post office.
and this movie makes it seem like it takes like a month to do all of this. It's just several years.
You know,
to go after Capone.
Everybody, all the workers in here know. Oh, some stuff's about to go down back there.
Mm-hmm. And like to just point out the level of corruption that has to be taking place. They are doing this at a federal building. Like
Yeah,
post
right.
offices are federally controlled buildings.
As Malone says, it's everybody's drinking. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows where it is. It's just nobody's doing anything about it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth.
I mean, because they come barging in, and this guy doesn't react like, oh my God, they might shoot me. He's upset that somebody has broken the agreement or whatever. It's more like you're reacting to a contract disagreement over a business deal.
Right.
Well, like I said, they didn't go after Capone because he was doing the drink running, I guess you would want to say, or whatever, the bootlegging. They went after him because he was a brutal, like, psychotic murderer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How do you think he feels? Do you think he feels better?
Nah. That smug look on the waiter. I'm like, that waiter knows. That waiter knows.
Yeah.
I
might be jumping a little bit ahead, but when the photographer walks in, even the accountant immediately pulls his sidearm. Like, now he's fired up.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, you just that's still like an adrenaline. Like, I think at that moment his brain like almost got rewired because like high intense situations will do that to your brain. So
yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
But I like when earlier when they were talking to each other, like just the two of them, and he's like, "Don't trust anybody." When you actually like go by that don't trust anybody, you notice background characters looking at them weird. It's like,
yeah,
yep,
yeah.
Why are you looking at them weird?
Every time I have a movie with Italians in it, Italian people just show up in the chat.
We're everywhere. It's true.
Hey, I'm Irish. I like Sean Connery. I'm sorry, okay?
It's like, shoot him. It's the press. Get him.
How has that press boy not been like killed already? Like, I don't understand. He just throws himself at dangerous situations.
Yeah, he was in there with Capone at the barbershop too.
He gets into more trouble than Jimmy Olsen.
Agreed.
And there's no Superman here.
Right.
You know, it's funny.
Hey,
I laugh every time I see it. Andy Garcia, who's Cuban, has made more of a career of playing Italian than mob guys.
You take a picture, but for us, not for the paper.
Well, because he realized, like, if they were in the paper, they would become bigger targets. They're already targets. They'd just be bigger.
And this is the best baseball scene in a movie ever.
So at the start of this, I was like, yes, I agree with this because I've said this for years. That's one of the reasons baseball is my favorite sport is it's the only sport where the individual can stand as the individual and the team can stand as the team. And you also get that individual versus the team moment. It's where you're just the only one standing at the plate. But then it kind of went off the rails a little bit, and I started disagreeing with what he was saying.
When he starts shooting the poor man with a baseball bat, like, you have to agree somewhere. Like, you have to disagree somewhere between talking and beating a man.
He's like, I like what you're saying, but you lost me with the skull bashing.
He's just increasing efficiency in the organization.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Course.
Yeah, that table did look a little too crowded, so we need to make room.
One less didn't hurt.
Is this a new person, Jacob? Is he the first time to stream? Or?
Yeah, they'll think next time when Capone pulls out some sporting equipment.
Get the heck out of there. Sorry, y'all. I
was going to golf club, guys.
Oh, he's got a little bat.
Golf. If he pulls out a badminton racket, you just know that you're getting a slap on the hand. You're gonna be fine the next day.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was probably a Louisville Slugger. Like, that was probably a solid bat.
Damn, the sound design on that bat hitting the dude.
Yeah.
So good.
Do y'all think I should just play not the blood part, but just the first whack?
I think you can get away with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
the
you
funny
can
thing
you can just snip that little bit part out.
with Al Capone, right? So you don't know if did he kill him because he wasn't doing well with the organization, or because he was eating when he wasn't supposed to.
Too bad y'all couldn't hear that.
You know what I mean? That's how Capone was.
Mm-hmm.
They're like,
Yeah, Jacob,
like he might have
only
lived through
one-
this, for example, had he not been
only
eating.
one
Like,
that's not uncomfortable is this guy. The guy that does all the killings and bombings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you mean Nitty? Well, Nitty
This-
was one of
this
his
poor waiter back
two
here probably wet
right-hand
himself.
men, so to speak. He knew everything. Like Capone kept him in the loop with everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just walking around like a vulture. Yeah, if you played any part of the video, Jacob, I didn't hear it or see it.
Oh yeah, Firefox and StreamYard don't work like that.
Yeah, and like I said before, I don't know. Every now and then it just kind of like stays a little bit and eventually catch up. But yeah, I think it's one of those moments where it's not catching up. There we go.
Yeah.
Small child.
Going to bed.
I agree.
Yeah, I like how it. Oh, go ahead, Mando.
Oh no, it just like that. Just more commenting on the sound of that baseball bat. Like I don't know who the sound guy was making all of those sounds. Jacob?
Raccoon's got him. He'll be back.
Raccoons. But yeah, just whoever was in charge of making sure that that sounded authentic. Like, I really hope they didn't actually crush a skull.
No, I mean the Foley artist probably did something like old-fashioned
use a
wooden
cow
baseball
skull or
bat on like a
something.
coconut or something.
Yeah.
Just to get a nice like wooden ring sound to it, because you'd want to hit something similar in hardness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was back when they actually had to
that.
like design sounds, and they just didn't go to a file library and go, "That sounds good," and we'll overlay that. And
They're like, "What
Jacob,
does a
can you hear
bat
us?
sound like when it hits a skull?"
I can tell you from experience, it's what it sounds like, but not from being dead by it. But what let's just say, Little League was a little rough when we were kids. You know.
I mean, I've got hit in the face with a baseball, but not a bat. Just a baseball.
my uncle
This
knocked
little
out
turd
my mother when they were
broke a
kids with
bat over
baseball
my
bat.
back, and I almost killed him. I was a big kid, and he thought he needed a bat to equalize it, and I said to him, you should have killed me, and I think I threw him over a fence.
Imagine.
I think World War II would have been very different if Capone was president.
So I know that Matt, you did mention that this film does make it look like this takes place over just a period of months, but it's actually years. There's one thing in here that is, I think it's easy to miss, showing that more time has passed than we think, and it's this here, and then later on when we see that she's given birth to a new baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that they've done in this to make it feel like more than a minor amount of time is passing. I think they should have leaned into it a little bit more.
Yeah. They could have done like more headlines with dates and stuff like that. Or something.
Yeah, I think that would have helped.
Because there were a lot of operations against her organization. It wasn't just like one sting and that was it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they could have done like different parts of like the year 1930, going like 1931 sort of thing.
Yeah, this tax thing was like later, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Give all the records to the guy with the glasses.
Exactly.
He's smart enough.
Glasses make you smarter.
He can read the numbers.
The numbers.
Yeah,
everyone
I wonder
still
how
thinks
tall
it's
he is. He's a short fella.
He is.
Charles Martin Smith. Let's find out.
And this guy. What do you think? Yeah, untouchable.
Yeah, actually.
Well, it's funny you say that. That grin.
And they got just the perfect guy for this casting. He's just like that looks like that weaselly little character.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Smarmy.
Yep.
Probably has wet
Greasy.
hands. Ugh.
Wet hands.
Yeah, he's like.
He reminds me
here's
of.
a bribe for you.
He reminds me of. Oh God, I can't think of his name, but from Raiders of the Lost Ark, Belloc.
Oh yeah,
The Nazi
Mhm.
Belloc. It
Uh-huh.
reminds me of him. It looks very similar.
I can see that. Okay, I'm gonna throw another one in there. A cross between him and Christopher Lloyd's character from Roger Rabbit. I forget his name.
Yeah, I know you're talking about, but yeah, that's. I feel like
There's something about the smile there that makes
collaboration.
me think that character specifically.
yeah.
I can't even. How do you even get your lips to like?
I don't
Weird.
know.
yeah.
It's like a smile, grin, grimace
Yeah.
combination.
This is a great move here where he just like calls everybody back in. It's like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna call you out.
Yeah, like that face right there he's making that looks something similar to like Christopher Lloyd,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting. He's just not worried whatsoever that he's being called out in front of other people for this, because he knows he's got to know how many people are being paid to protect him and everybody else.
Right? Oh, this scene.
Yeah.
The scene with his house. Bruh.
Mhm.
Bruh.
I mean, come on, you can't be that naive to go into a situation like this where you're going up against the mob and then not to
Right.
try this.
Yeah, like
Of course they're gonna intimidate
Yeah.
your family.
Sam, this is a little. I would disagree only because back then, the retaliation for this would be just them showing up and gunning them all down.
Yeah.
Remember, there were no rules for the government back then. Like when they were gunning down like Bonnie and Clyde, they really just gunned them down. There was no attempt to arrest them or whatever. So the government it was like a Wild West thing, but now the government was just killing people.
Yeah. It was like we said earlier, basically gang war with one gang has a badge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. He just got slapped in the face with a dose of reality.
And also, just in terms of again, Nitty is a character that this movie changes completely. And just to finish it, he did not want to get arrested. He did not want to go to jail. He did not want to get involved with the government. He was one of Capone's guys saying, "Tone it down." Yeah.
This scene bothered me. There were only a couple of scenes that pulled me out, and it's all for a nitpick that most people would not notice. But he runs in the room. He's still got his gun drawn. Okay, makes sense. Sees his daughter is okay. All right. Put your gun away. Okay. He's still panicking. He's not thinking that clearly. He goes and grabs his daughter and almost points the gun directly at her head. Okay, so he's still panicking, but surely he's got his finger off the trigger. No, he's holding the gun mostly with his trigger finger.
The whole movie, Beard. The whole movie.
This might be
thinking, did no one teach them gun safety? Like the whole thing, he's climbing up with his hands still on the trigger, climbing up a ladder.
This was before they cared about the lives of the actors. That was like the 1990s forward they cared about that.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, "Oh, he killed the kid. We'll just throw in the ditch and get another one." You know, it's like,
Look, I know it's a stunt gun, and surely no actor ever would have a gun with live rounds in it and just go ahead and treat it as if it was completely, not dangerous whatsoever.
never would
no.
happen. Never. Yeah.
But still,
Nobody's gonna do that. Wow.
too
come on,
much safety.
brother, just do this. Just do this.
Right?
Yeah.
Although I will say,
The whole time.
a couple years after this was the death of Brandon Lee that changed a lot of stuff with how Hollywood treated guns on set.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a string
Okay,
of them
we're not
in
alone.
that
We're not
same
alone.
time period.
Barbara's on our team.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jake. What was that?
Yeah, that there were a few incidents right in that time period too that happened that it changed a lot.
Yeah, was he busy doing some other movie at this point, or what? What was he doing in the time frame?
I don't know. 87.
This
He
is a
put
smart
out-
move, though. This is like when Ness is finally like acting practically, not ideologically, because the danger is shown up to his family, and he's yeah. And this is another thing they don't cover is they've got a list of cops that they can trust that Malone has decided are not on the take.
Yeah,
This is one of them, as we find out, because he's his cousin.
Mhm.
But he gives him his hat and his jacket to kind of look like him as if anybody sees him going by. But also, a nice move, he doesn't tell him what to do next. Just get to the station, then she'll tell you what to do, which is a nice little bit of compartmentalization of information.
Right.
Because, yeah, you don't trust anyone. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Copa says in 87, Alec
like
was Beetlejuice.
Right here, too.
interesting.
Oh, yeah, Beetlejuice. Okay. This part here with the shotgun, he does the same thing. It's like, I'm going to blow my friend's leg off with a shotgun here.
Oh, and also, look, I know it's gotten better over time, and I have to look at this as how people did gun stuff in 87. So I'll try not to point out all of it. But the number of times, even from the first time when they went to the post office, that they unnecessarily racked a shotgun and then later on racked it again, and then later on racked it again. I'm like, dude, your tube is half empty now.
Well, don't you remember we were with them and had all the former soldiers as the actors who were behaving properly with the weapons and tactics, right? And you can see none of these guys have any weapons training. You know?
right.
Or at least gun training, I should say. You know?
I mean, he's got the Tommy gun, like.
And he's got his finger on the trigger for the automatic weapon.
All right, I'm going to try not to keep pointing that out now. I just had to get a little bit out of my system. You know who I am.
If a police force was like this in real life, they would be having desk pops all the time.
Yes.
Stone is ready to take out some birds if they come in.
And if Stone's hand was just down a little bit lower, it would have been right at Sean Connery's head.
Right?
Yeah.
And once again, he comes up with, look, the weird tax things. And he's still like, I just don't care about the tax things. Shut up and go to sleep.
I mean, he makes a good point. Like, can you connect him? And he's like, well, no.
Right.
He's like, well, that's useless for me right now.
Why am I reading this?
I can imagine in real life, if you're Sean Connery and some numbnuts points a prop machine gun at your head, you'd probably punch him. Sean Connery would probably just slug him.
Probably. Yeah. Or that thing at me.
But he pointed a shotgun at the little guy earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, he can. He's Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
He can do that. He's a sir, right? So
Sean Connery can point a gun at me anytime.
I have
Exactly.
I mean, when you're able to rock a waistcoat like that and a page boy cap, you can get away with a lot.
Yes.
If it wasn't like 100 degrees down here and 80% humidity, I'd try it. Oh, God,
One other thing. This is I'm gonna be girly girl for a moment. Why can't they bring back 3-piece suits for dudes? They look so nice. They look so good.
Bring back going out in a suit and wearing a proper hat when you go out to the front door.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And that waistcoat, the vest, the waistcoat covers your gut.
It does.
So if you have a gut, it covers it.
And it hides how much you're sweating down here in Southeast Texas.
Like what? Like why can't we bring the 3-piece suit now? Oh,
no, that's when you have a linen suit, Beard. That's when you wear a white linen suit.
I don't look good in light colors. Anyway,
I don't look good in dresses though.
All right, they made
unless the dress is made of fire.
They made one main big mistake here. They trusted the Canadians.
Right.
Right.
The Canadians. Just kidding.
But yeah, this was nice to come all the way up here to the Canadian border to show just how far-reaching Capone's direct influence was. This wasn't like a supply chain that, one guy shipped it, and another guy did this, another guy did this, and then it eventually got to where Capone would buy it. he was the guy who originally sourced it and did all of everything through that, or at least his people did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I love how they're on horseback in this scene, though.
Yeah. Oh, crazy Mounties.
I know.
I was gonna say here, one problem, they're skylining themselves. So
Oh yeah.
But then I thought they have the mob here has no people
Is that guy
stopping them.
actually a
So it's
mountie?
like, what's the point in looking? Because there's nobody stopping us. So
Well,
so
I
it kind of
think
makes
this was
sense.
I think this was the planning session, and then everybody went to their, because the guys go to the cabin that suspiciously looks like the cabin that was in
All Western movies?
one. It was specifically one we did, the John Wayne eye patch, True Grit.
True Grit. Oh,
Grit.
yeah, that's
This
the kitchen from
Good
True
one.
Grit. Yeah. But that's not the only one. I've seen this kitchen multiple
yeah.
times in different.
But yeah,
westerns.
the Canadians are supposed to be out like kind of around the ridge where they're not easily seen.
Yeah.
Now fashion talk is happening in the chat.
Oh,
Just
fine. If
how the trend
men
starts.
will start wearing 3-piece suits again, I'll find dresses that fit properly, I guess. If that's the price I have to pay, I'll deal.
Pixar didn't happen.
True. Yeah. There we go.
This is a nice thing here where he's just basically like, don't worry about what's going to happen or might happen. Just wait and see what happens.
Yep.
He's going around dropping his Sean Connery knowledge. Have you checked it already? Yes? Well, then stop checking it. Stop messing around.
Leave it alone.
Did you wear underwear today?
Now that you've asked, I need to think about it.
Giuseppe, did you change your undergarments today? Yes or no?
Yeah.
How about you? It's cold. Well, stomp your feet. It'll warm you up.
Yeah.
Lessons from a beat cop.
Jim, I can't hear you over the sound of my trigger finger being on the trigger. Sorry.
It would be interesting though if everybody in there, because he starts stomping and then I think Ness starts stomping too. Be interesting if like the mob drove up and they turn off the engine and they just hear in the distance thump, thump, thump. What's that sound?
That would be in a like something like Blazing Saddles or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
The noise. And here we go.
This is where the fun begins.
Oh, those cars are so cool too.
They were.
We don't see the cars
they are.
yet. We're still stuck.
I think we're just a couple clicks.
There we
behind.
go.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
I actually, so funny story. Where I work is like in the middle of like a kind of like a city-ish. I saw one of those driving down. It was bright red. And like I walked outside of my office building and be like, oh my gosh. And it fully restored, intact, and driving.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I've seen a few. Used to know a guy who had an old Model T that was restored and driving.
Mm.
Yeah, I saw a guy that had a Willys Jeep, and it was like all the military equipment on it. It was so cool. I mean, it didn't have the machine gun, but everything else was there. It was cool.
Look, I know doing this right on the border kind of makes sense, bringing Canadian whiskey into the U.S., which Canada never sends their good stuff, by the way, these days. Don't buy it.
Yeah.
But it is very in the open, which I guess also kind of works for their favor because they can see anybody showing up, but also everybody can just see it.
Right.
But I guess the horses are probably used to suggest how remote it might be. Okay, I'm poking holes in my own argument. I'll shut up.
And the Canadians mess up.
Yeah, because they're not supposed to show up till they get down there, and as he says, flashes the badge.
Yeah.
It's because they want to get close. They don't have to cover that distance with gunfire.
Right. Because that's a waste of ammunition.
And deadly for yourself.
I mean, I guess so. I love this scene so much with the horses. Like,
yeah, this is a great scene. It's like a cool cowboy take.
That, yes, Barbara, and also that particular background I've seen in many westerns, like just that mountain range.
Yeah, it's probably in Montana.
Probably. Or Arizona.
Or anywhere with mountains. I can do it too.
Yeah.
This guy just goes
What's his name?
hardcore.
Gets hit.
Yeah. Stone gets hit.
Stone. He takes one to the shoulder. Like a good Western, you take one to the shoulder.
Right? Yep. There's always that one. Always.
Down, but not out.
Okay.
Yep.
Like, I'm okay. I'm okay.
And of course, it's the nerdy guy. It's like, I'm going Rambo.
Basically, like, you gotta watch out for the quiet nerdy ones. There's that.
They got
inside them.
You hit that switch. I am the law.
Right.
That's why whenever I worked with those folks, I'd always buy them a Coke or a Snickers or something. So when they snapped, they'd remember me. They'd have that like happy sign in their brain.
Snickers bar. You're turning into the Hulk right now, bud.
You're not yourself. You have a Snickers.
Yeah.
And homeboy didn't count his shots.
He lights up that car though. Like he kills a few people. Like it's
like, bro, like
it's not just like one and done. He kills a few people and then he goes up to this guy, realizing he's out of ammo, and this guy is the mobster's out of ammo, and he just goes and just starts beating him with the shotty. Like
I think he got lucky because I think the mobster's gun actually
jammed.
He was
yeah, that's
now,
right. Yeah, it jammed.
I will say this because I did nag on them about gun stuff earlier. Before they head out, Malone says, "Do you have your extra shells to the shotgun guys?"
Mm-hmm.
And they say yes. And I think that was actually to cover how many shots were used in this sequence or were fired. We don't see reloads, but I think that was to kind of cover the fact that it would take more than those tubes would hold. So I'll give them credit. That was a nice touch. And also, I like this little sneak of liquor.
Yeah.
Right? Because like everyone was drinking, even if they said they weren't. They were. And of course, like if it's good whiskey.
And he also just thought he was gonna die. So
right, he's gonna have a drink before he dies. Like of course.
Yeah. Dude's life just almost flashed before his eyes. He's just like, I'm gonna have a drink before I die at this point, you know?
Right. And I mean, like breath. It's just pouring out. Like you don't want it to go to waste, right?
Exactly. It's wasting away. So you know.
And if Ness comes up and gets all, hoity-toity and says, "You smell like alcohol," he's got a perfect excuse. It was shooting out of the barrel.
Yeah, I just ran through it.
Yeah.
It splashed to my face. I just happened to be yelling like, ah!
Like it just fell in my mouth.
Yeah. I'm short, you know, just the drip.
It was evidence. I had to gather it somehow.
Yeah. Right? I had to make sure it was authentic Canadian whiskey.
Yeah. Jim was like, Oscar, why do you smell like whiskey?
Canadian Club.
This is a gamble right here. You just, I mean, how many times as a kid did you play the game with the ball up on the roof and, you know, because you didn't have any friends, or is that just me that didn't have friends? All right, never mind. Let's not talk about that. But it doesn't always come back down where you think it's going to. So to do that with a grenade?
Well, but it was meant to just be a distraction. Like, I think that was the main point of it anyway.
Yeah, but still, I mean, what if he tossed it up there and started looking through the window and it just rolled back down at his feet?
De Palma's like, we didn't give him a real grenade, right? That's a dud.
We'll find out.
You didn't actually pull a pin, did you?
Confirm, be wary of a Snickers bar for beard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Kevin, for this to Jacob's gone again. Kevin, for that take, did you actually pull out the pin on that thing? Yeah, I was told it's a dud.
The Palmer was like, we got to show you guys what happens to take it seriously. Hey, you, extra over there. Take this, run over there, and pull the pin. Okay, sir.
Meanwhile, the props guy, like,
that's why you don't pull the pin on a grenade.
the props guy's like, wait, I wasn't supposed to put like real gunpowder in there? Whoops.
Oops.
Oopsie daisy.
It was cheaper just to buy surplus military grenades and to make fake ones.
Yeah. I brought this at Army Navy.
Alec
I thought it was a
Baldwin told
dud.
me it was okay.
Like they're not supposed to use real grenades on set, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It depends on who's the
It
star
adds a
and producer
realism
of the
to
film.
the movie.
Make someone actually scared and pees their pants, you know?
Yeah.
We're
Not
filming in
fake.
Canada today.
Yeah.
We can use real grenades.
So yeah, he tries to hold on to his idealism and tell the guy, drop your gun, you're under arrest. The guy points a gun at him and he's forced to fire because the last rule is make sure you go home, or the first rule is make sure you go home alive at the end of your shift.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't like that he had to do it.
Well, yeah, because it directly conflicts with his idealized view of the world. In his
Yes.
idealized view of the world, I am the one with the law on my side. I tell you to do something and you will do it. And this guy says, no, I will not do it.
Yep.
I love this scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
You will tell us what you know. Or you see this corpse over here? I'm going to do to this to you.
Yeah,
they
man, we
find
got
his
everything
book.
here. It's just coded.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. The infamous ledger.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you always bring along a madman accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Those
He's
accountants,
like,
man.
I'm not going to do anything to help you out. Whatever.
Yeah, you're not going to do anything to me. You're feds.
Yeah.
This man is not a fed.
Malone certainly tries.
So
See,
shot
and-
outside.
Specifically, I don't think this dude has any idea that there's actually a dead guy out there. I think he fully believes that this is an alive dude.
Yeah.
That's why it's so effective in convincing
Oh,
him
it
to
Yeah.
play along.
He's like, what's the matter? You can't talk with a gun in your mouth?
Got something in the shade, don't you?
De Palma's like, someone gave Connery a fake gun, right? It's like,
But meanwhile, like the guy who's playing this part, who's pretending to be dead, it's like, okay, look, so the scene here, Sean Connery is gonna put a gun in your mouth.
But it's a
you
fake gun.
It's a fake gun, don't worry. He's gonna have his finger on the trigger.
sure, it's fake. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You've played Russian roulette, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You're fine. You're fine.
The director's like, oh, it's not a real gun. And he turns to somebody, it's not a real gun, is it? Right?
Exactly. Like, yeah, it's not real, right?
Guy like,
Yeah, it's fake.
I was like, this sure tastes like metal, though. So
Well, it's Canada, so a real gun was cheaper. It's like,
And this guy, like, basically pees himself. Like, in anything, I'll tell you my mom's name, my grandma's name, and her
he was
cousin.
convinced easily.
Yeah, I think Malone even says, let him change his
I
pants
stole
after he
kids'
tells
money.
you.
I stole kids' money in preschool.
I went to this Five and Dime and I stole an apple. I was 3.5 for mom.
He just goes all Chunk from the Goonies.
Right.
I don't even think the
This
Canadians
guy's
knew
like-
that guy was actually dead. He's like, I don't like you and how you do things.
Yeah. I don't approve of your methods.
Well, he doesn't
Louder
either,
proof
but he's not going to
Canadian.
tell you that.
Canada,
Yeah, I
you still
love
have
the
pictures
loyalty
of
here.
British royalty on your money, so shut up.
Hi, Miss Martin.
Howdy.
Hey, Ms. Martin.
hey, Mr. Martin.
Hello.
Now he's starting to get upset.
They got
He's
the
like,
whole.
I want him dead. I want his house burned down to the ground. I want his family dead.
I want his family dead. That emphasis on dead.
Yeah.
It is a great De Niro scene, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, this is the scene I referenced earlier where she's in the hospital having just given birth. Like, he couldn't even be there for the birth. He's there like the day after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
and
trying to keep her
beforehand she
safe by
showed
not
no
being around.
signs.
Yeah. So, that, like I said, this is the only time that they kind of show a passive of any significant amount of time. It's still not much compared to the real life time it took for them to get this all done. But again, they could have leaned into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Could have at least had like a phone scene with him and his daughter, like once in a while, and show her aging up like slightly, like that. What, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Or like they're reading the paper or something like that, and like there's just like a date reference, you know, just something that kind of shows a little bit more.
This guy, I will admit, like, he had to have some cojones to even agree at all to prosecute Capone. Like, even with the evidence they had, like, I bet you there are lots of people that wouldn't have even taken on that case.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Because kind of as Capone alluded to earlier on, like the very first scenes, like there's crime that's happening, but none of it's tied back to him because he's got everything ordered up so much that nobody can trace it back to him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I hated this scene. Why with my favorite dude?
I will admit there was a tear.
You can see he is riding high, and he is so pumped to be on this team. He's like, yes, hell yes, this is a lot more than doing audits and paperwork.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he feels like he's making a difference now.
Yep.
His life must have been so mundane, and now he actually has a chance to do something. And
and that really happened. He did kill those two guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they hear a gunshot.
It's super wild though. Like they just know like something bad took place. Like it's our guys that got attacked, you know?
Well, I mean, like he had to have realized like they're all massive targets. So like you hear a gunshot, you got my first instinct would be like one of our guys got shot.
They reacted even before they heard the gunshot because I think it was more of they must have had some sort of mentality of like nobody really goes anywhere alone.
Mm-hmm.
If you can avoid it, especially not outside of the police station because he was escorting that guy down to a car to be taken to a safe location
in a back alley. Like he should have had more than one or two escorts. Like that man should have had an army protecting
This group
him.
of cops was like Ness's chosen cops. And they got to them because the captain or whatever basically let Nitty in, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like in the scene, like as it pans away, you see the captain doing that, and I literally yelled at my screen. I was like, "You don't deserve to do that. You're the reason that man is dead."
Yeah, and he also tells Malone like you should get out of town, take some time off because like he's trying to save Malone because he knows what's going to happen to him.
Yep.
Because he's the one that has flipped on him.
Right. Like he was the informant who decided he didn't want to inform anymore.
Yeah, the guy actually wrote on the wall, "Untouchable."
In blood. And poor dude was hanging a little bit, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Ugh. Terrible. Short crime.
I wanted to I was so happy when Sean Connery's character like later on like kind of gives this dude what for like I wanted him to hurt.
Yeah.
Because I don't blame the assassin for doing what he does. He assassinates people. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Like it was the chief of police that let him in. Like, that's his fault.
I was about to say this was a ballsy move to go straight to the hotel where they know Capone is and call him out, but no, this is a stupid move, fully fueled by rage and emotion.
So,
no logic.
In real life, the only time Ness ever met Capone was when he arrested him, take him to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He tells him off with his guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's just had enough right now.
Wonder if he snuck a little whiskey in his coffee there.
I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, I agree. Absolutely. De Niro, perfect for this role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was.
He knows how to play the British mafia thug very well.
Yeah, I was trying to think, because the role of Al Capone has been done quite a few times across like the history of cinema, even like in TV shows as well, right? Like, I liked the Boardwalk Empire version as well. I can't think of the actor's name off the top of my head, but
yeah, I was going to bring that up before when they were talking about the Canadian whiskey and all that.
Yeah,
I was going to say, if anyone wanted a really good sort of like fictional way they brought the whiskey in and all that and how they distribute it, go watch Boardwalk Empire. The first couple seasons, they talk about it, even though the show's fictional, like a fictionalization, they based it on how it really was done.
Right, exactly. And that was a pretty good one. But I was like, I don't know if anyone else has done a better job than Robert De Niro as Al Capone in this movie.
In Boardwalk Empire, that he was portrayed by Stephen Graham.
That's right. Yeah, he was good in that.
Yeah, there's a more recent one of called Capone with
Ed Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was weird though. Like that was like a take on, I think, when he was older, right? And it was after he got out of jail and he was like sick. It was like a different, it was like, here's the latter part of Capone's life where he's not like the cool, gangster guy. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Ed Hardy did a good job, but it's not like this type of Capone as we see here, or maybe some like the older versions. But yeah, but if you want to see something that's like another part of Capone's life, then you're an Ed Hardy fan, I would suggest watching it, but very different from De Niro's version.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked it up. Apparently there are 12 actors who played Al Capone.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I think the first one was like back in like the 50s, I want to say.
I'm looking at the oldest. So obviously Neville Brand from the TV show was in the late 50s.
Yeah.
This scene. Oh yeah.
He says something smart alecky to him. All right. It's like about being in the space of like police officers.
Mm-hmm.
This is
a place for cops.
Yeah. I was like, what are you basically like? You're not a cop anymore, bud. Like, what are you doing here? It's like, we need to have a chat. Okay. Let's step out.
And then they go back and forth like, I know you've told me the information. Well, I don't know anymore, and I'm not telling you the information. And he's like, I know you know. He's like, I know too, but I'm not telling you.
It's like the Irish on Irish crime here.
Yeah.
Well, because like when you think about like the Irish culture, like how they were treated, and for one of them to quote unquote turn their back, and like he would become a snitch. Like being a snitch is worse than dirt. Like you are you are worse than nothing.
How they treat Italians in this. They used to treat Irish the same way when they first came over.
Oh yeah, it was. They were Irish were treated as slaves. Like, bruh.
Yeah.
They did not get handled well, either of them. But I also just think at the like sort of stunt work that was done here, as like, you know, Sean Connery's getting like thrown in like a bunch of garbage cans, you know, he's getting thrown into boxes. He's like, let me grab this little like wooden piece of debris to hit Sean Connery right in the gut, as if he didn't see it coming. That was the thing. I was like, come on, dude, you should have seen him grab it and think, I want to smack you in like the gut or the chest with this. Could have tried to dodge it, but he didn't. He just took it like a man.
Sean Connery dodge?
Sean Connery doesn't dodge anything. He takes it like a man.
Man up.
You got to bring out the peace here.
It's like, I will snitch.
Okay, I'm gonna make a joke here. This is what happens when a man starts acting like a woman. Sean Connery comes in and slaps around a little bit.
Well, the fact that he was, you know, ready to, you know, I don't know if he would have actually done it, but the fact that he was just so close to and willing to just take like this guy's life for like the greater good just shows you how serious he was. And like he just like Barbara said, he's had enough. If this guy's got to go because you're a rat. Yeah, you got to go.
Yeah, and he's probably known that guy has been a rat for a long time, and it's like, enough. I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah.
Well, you guys may have covered it because I had to step away for a second, but he didn't just go there to beat him up. He needs the information for the location.
Oh,
right, the location of the bookkeeper, because
without the bookkeeper, they're not going to prosecute. So Ness is there trying to stall, or at least keep them from officially saying that they're not going to go ahead with the prosecution. He's out on the town.
Going to an opera.
I didn't attack anybody. They came after me.
Basically saying, yeah, this guy was going to come after me for something petty. He should, you know, come up to me like a real man with real charges.
Isn't this where he like first says a line like you stay in the fight and see who's the last man standing or something along those lines?
Yes. This man,
this is one of the worst and best parts of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this scene because, I mean, just the camera work and like the suspense that is building up at every turn, and like just noise, and you know, as like the assassin is losing where Jim is. He's like, you think he takes a right, but no, he actually took a left, and you know, it's like, well, wait, turns around, he's cranking up. Was it the record player, right?
Yeah,
and it's just like, oh, okay, now he's there, and then meanwhile.
Well, Jim, and it's a little thing.
Jim just knows what's happening.
The couple of times that you see his hand come in frame, it's done really well for the time period, considering that they're not filming on a GoPro where you can just strap it to somebody's face and easily reach around the camera. You've got a fairly large camera on a Steadicam rig and a whole other person in a hallway that's not very big.
Yeah.
But it comes across really well done, I think. It's a small little thing, but it really sells the look. I just had to go get my door shotgun.
I also like when he was taking a sip of that whiskey, it like me personally, I was like, he's having one before he goes. He knew his time was up.
Yeah, he wanted to get that last drink in, and I think also maybe just to, not that I think he had any nerves, but I think just to kind of like, if this is my last outing, then kind of need a little bit of extra courage to kind of, you know, fight whatever needs to be done here. Which obviously I wish he still shot the assassin, even if he shot him while he was outside at this point, and then he gets shot here by Nitty. But like,
because that would go along with what he said earlier. If they come at you with a knife, you go after them with a gun.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why he didn't shoot the guy with a knife.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I wanted him to shoot him so bad, even to this day when I watch the scene, I'm like, just pull the trigger, Jim. God.
Right?
It
Shoot
Yeah,
the
right.
man now.
because he throws out the
Get him on the doorstep and pull the trigger so it doesn't make a mess inside. Come on.
If because he throws out the Italian slurs again, and I guess you could argue that he just thought it was a dude breaking into his house that wasn't tied to that, but we've already seen that he's smart enough to not think that. So yes, that's another little nitpick that I don't like, is the fact that he just didn't fire. And why is it always the same opera when it's an opera in a movie?
Yeah, right.
Consistent?
It's such a chilling comparison as like what's happening in this scene, right? Like you have Jim with Sean Connery, one of the most liked characters in this movie, which I mean he won an Academy Award, I believe, for Best Supporting Actor, right? And meanwhile he's dying, and then you've got Capone here shedding a tear at the opera. It's just it's nuts.
He's also showing I'm out in public. I wasn't there. I don't know anything.
Right.
I'm innocent.
He's making absolutely sure that anything that is questionable cannot be tied back to him in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yep. You did it. I was at the opera.
You cannot pin these murders on me. I was not there. And I have thousands of people who will vouch for me.
Including the clown.
Yeah.
Including the clown, who was that a signature? I think I like turned away for a second. Like, was he like autograph, or was he just shaking his hand? I don't remember.
I don't recall, Jacob. I think we're stuck again. I think we're stuck.
No, we're good. I had to do something.
Oh, okay.
But we're not stuck.
Oh, this is where they get the call. Shots have been fired.
Oh yeah.
Actually, they didn't get a call. I think this is another instance of. Actually, did they get a call? Because I thought that they just went there anyway to try to check on him.
He called them to meet. Yeah, to meet.
Oh yes, that's right. Because
his house.
Because he spoke to.
They just show up and there's a bunch of commotion outside.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, the neighbors are outside when they show up saying we heard gunshots. That's right.
Yeah.
I bet they were surprised that police showed up so fast.
Or the Treasury Department, actually.
I mean, they don't know the difference.
Yeah. They just think they just see a guy with a gun and a badge.
His badge is under his overcoat. It's just a guy with a gun running in there.
That's true, yeah.
But it's Chicago, so
just assume, yeah. Either that or a mobster, but
right.
Yeah.
So
the fact that he was
that
he's still breathing after getting lit up with a Tommy gun and crawled across his house,
entire apartment.
Yeah, or his apartment, yeah, and is still like just able to say a few quick last breaths to Elliot.
Yeah, they don't hit him with too many squibs, I think, in order to make it believable. And it was from a good distance, so that's actually a believable use of that gun. Not being super accurate, especially firing from the hip like he was doing.
Right, like it didn't hit him like a vital organ or
so
or
I
artery.
think off the top of my head, like you see 6 or 7 squibs go off.
Yes. At least
3 or 4 in the front and 3 in the back, which is still a hell of a lot of 45 going into your body. But I think it was good to show a little bit of restraint to make this a little bit more believable that he could have done this.
Listen, De Palma, this scene's got to be good. You got to really shoot me. Don't worry, I'll have my Zardoz underwear on. It won't actually kill me.
What are you prepared to do?
Don't worry, I've been around for a long time.
A long time.
I'll come back.
In fact, I was a dragon one time.
I was also an Egyptian.
The Spaniard Egyptian
Spaniard.
De Palma's like, in a speech later on, I think the movie was going to work, but when Connery said we could really shoot him and be okay with that, we knew we would have a good movie.
No, if there's any actor that would ever do something like that, it's gonna be like Daniel Day-Lewis or one of those other like crazy strict method actors.
Yeah,
it's only in the arm I can take it.
You got to make it believable.
Just stab me. It's okay.
Oh no, actually Shia LaBeouf. It would be Shia LaBeouf.
Ah!
Oh
The
yeah,
guy
he
who
just
like
does
scratched
drugs
open
to
his
roll.
face for that Tank movie, Fury.
Do it.
dude, I love
Do
that
it.
movie. So good.
But yeah, they
Actually,
he had
Christian
the
Bale.
train information. Oh, Christian Bale, yes.
He might.
Remember
yeah.
what was the movie? The Machinist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You think Tom Cruise would do it? I mean, he'll do
Oh, that was
crazy ass
crazy.
stunts, but like,
No, I don't think he would.
I don't
But
think
you-
he'd want to ruin that pretty face of his.
He'll jump off a skyscraper with nothing, no safety net. but
he
won't
might
shoot him,
he might
you know?
die, but he doesn't want to
Yeah.
take any like kind of body harm, from a
Yeah.
impale or
This scene is infamous. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
like a scene that I've
Love
seen
this.
many times despite not having watched the movie. It is both incredibly tense and very ridiculous at the same time.
Now I have to say, Brian De Palma is notorious for certain camera techniques that make things look more surreal, but they
Yeah.
don't show up for most of this movie until this end sequence. You get some of them in this scene, and then when Nitty dies, you get a big one. Okay, so.
I mean, that carriage is heavier than the baby is.
especially like the old
Yeah.
the old carriages. They weren't light. They're not like strollers these days where you could just toss it with one arm over your head.
Right?
Like it was definitely believable, like for this mother
Mhm.
to be carrying 2 suitcases, which I mean, old school suitcases too were pretty heavy.
Oh, they are, yeah.
And yeah, this giant carriage with like I'm sure those wheels probably made of, I don't know,
Iron.
so maybe iron, like probably weighed a decent amount. So like she's trying to just take it up step by step, realizing that this is going to be a bit of a trek up the steps. The build up for all this tension is it's magnificent. It's such a
Mhm.
greatly shot scene. The acting in this whole scene is just superb.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll
And
be
while you-
honest. Go ahead. Sorry.
While they did telegraph the baby being involved in some capacity,
yeah.
they didn't do it in a way that made you annoyed.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest. Like there was a point I was like, "Woman, please take the baby out of the carriage, put the luggage in the carriage, hold the baby, drag the carriage."
I think too, like, if you have kids or, nieces or nephews, I mean, when you hear a screaming baby and me knowing what's happening in this scene already, it just now later part of my life, it's like, it's just a weird, different feeling that like you don't want anything to happen to like the baby whatsoever. Right. Like
Mhm.
you have this different level of
Yeah.
care. And obviously, like, even though the baby just does not get harmed at all, it's just the thought of like, okay, so we're going to have this scene play out, but we're going to have a baby in here. And, there's a couple times where the bullets like come close and hit the carriage even. And you're just like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Just man.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so he's having to
Just for
keep
the
an
hell
eye
of
on
it.
everybody coming in, and then when he starts seeing people that he might know, he realized they might know him, so he has to keep looking away, even though he's trying to keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's holding the
This
shotgun too.
concealment.
Mhm. The other
As
thing,
one
like,
does.
with this entire scene, like the Navy dudes that are walking up, like I felt like internally, I was like, oh man, they probably just got back from deployment
Yeah.
and now they're dead.
We're going home, guys.
And now we're dead.
No. Yeah, taking strays.
Yep.
Never trust a guy that has a broken nose bandage on.
Right.
Right.
And I love it. It's back in the day, so it's basically tape and half of a tongue depressor.
Right.
Oh man.
That's why everybody had crooked noses, because nobody knew how to fix them.
Wow.
Yep.
That's true.
Just for the hell of it, I Googled the kid who played the baby, right? And he became a stuntman, but he was also in some of the Star Wars TV shows as a Gamoran guard.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
Right? The MPs.
I got shot in Chicago. Okay.
Right.
Sure you did.
Yeah, we were just overseas. You got shot in Chicago. Okay, fine. See, this is why, like, part of me, because, like, I guess because, like, I've dealt with kids for a very long time. Like, he's old enough to where he can walk. Like, he looks like he's at least like maybe 1.5, 2, to where he can kind of start walking. So, like, to me, I would have taken him out of the carriage, put the suitcases in the carriage, and then held him on my hip, or like, walking him while I'm dragging the carriage. But that's just me. That was my whole thing. I'm like, woman, you know, this is not your first time doing this, ma'am.
Yep.
This is his first ever stunt as a stuntman.
I like the fact that we get to see that Stone there has held on to his backup revolver this entire time.
Right. I
and
mean,
he gets to toss it over because 1911s are great, but the capacity is not much better than a revolver.
Right.
Yeah.
That
He's
saved.
like, you got him?
Stone to the rescue.
I got him.
Yeah. And that even professional shooters these days, they'll tell you that it is weirdly difficult to shoot from unpracticed, non-normal positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So something like that, laying down like that, if you've only ever practiced standing, kneeling, or prone, that is outside of what your body is used to aiming properly with. So
I read a book by the guy who founded SEAL Team 6 way back when they skipped from 2 to 6 back in the early 80s. And yeah, they wanted to think there were SEAL Teams 3, 4, and 5, but they said, 6 was the one attached to Delta Force. And he was like, when I started training the guys, because he was a longtime Special Forces guy, he's like, I realized we're going to be like shooting on the move a lot, and so we tried to do that. And what you had to practice every single like if you're shooting from a Jeep, you had to practice that. If you're shooting on the run, shooting on a crawl, you had to practice that. Any way you had to shoot when you're moving, you had to you couldn't just practice on the move. It'll went into all type of shooting on the move.
Yeah.
I like this whole exchange where he's like, "You got him, I got him."
Well,
and bullseye.
And that shows how much trust that Ness has in him, because Ness has got a better sight picture, a better target. He's got more of that dude and less of the hostage, and he hands it over to the guy he knows is such a good shot that with more of the hostage and less of the target will make it hit.
I mean, they said, like, when we first saw him, he is a prodigy.
Yeah.
The Italian.
The Italian.
We're all good like that.
What's that?
This guy.
I know. I made a joke. He's Italian. We're all good like that.
Exactly. Yeah. We're all great shots.
The bloods. To me, the blood splatter on the wall looks like dog food with ketchup on it or something.
Probably was.
It's like we gotta like make it
probably
brains, but
you're right. Man, that guy had
I did like the fact that the accountant turns back and looks at. Yeah, I like the fact the accountant looks back at that and looks at it and like he was considering running, but now he's not. He's like, "Oh, I've got no chance."
Yeah, when the guy was holding the gun on him, he's like, "I'll tell you anything you want to know. Just get this guy."
Yeah.
Okay.
He's crazy. He'll do it.
I have to interject. There's a bit of character assassination in this sequence. This judge was not corrupt. He was known to be specifically not corrupt. That's why he was on this trial. And so they did kind of smear him a bit in terms of the movie. I don't like when they do that. I guess it worked for the plot, but it wasn't the reality of it.
Well, and like, but they kind of justified it, like at the end where he says, "Well, what I told him was like a lie. His name was not on the books."
No, but the judge believed it is what they're saying.
Yeah, and it does suggest that because the judge believed it, he may not have been on the take for Capone specifically, but maybe somebody else, and he didn't know that maybe he was getting money from Capone, and he just didn't know that was a connection there. So yes, I get what you're saying there, Matt, but also I understand, Amanda, where you're coming from.
And also historically, just so we know what happened in reality, just So Nitti wasn't involved in this at all. He was running Capone's empire, so to speak, while Capone was in jail. Because they took Capone to jail once they arrested him. He didn't get out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so some of Capone's other guys were trying to bribe the jury, and they did the jury swap before the trial, like in the pretrial.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which
is
is
they're coming out with everything. They're laying everything out, and it should be an easy, like, verdict here. But Capone is just like, whatever. And this dude just got the worst, just concealing. Dude, it's not even printing. Your jacket is just open.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing white? Also, like, you have a very dark, like, weapon. Like, I'm sure there was some sort of shadow or something like.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know the fact that he's got the pass from the mayor and everything and that whatsoever, but I would think, I mean, granted, they're coming from a position that of strength, because we don't know yet what they've got in their pocket, so to speak. So they don't care about drawing attention because they think everything is going to work out. But my brain thinks, like, why draw attention to anything? Just be subtle.
Yeah.
Get it done.
I don't know why they did it this way, by the way. I guess because in the movie you're going to use expensive suits, but it's not that Nitti wore white. It's that he was a fashion plate and he liked to look good in everything he wore. And every other mobster wore cheap suits.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess because they're all wearing professional, high quality suits, that they made him like wear that white suit to stand out. You know. You there, Jacob?
I think. Oh yeah. There's the permit, a literal handwritten note card from the mayor.
Bruh, if I could, like, and you can carry in a federal building, like, what?
It's a nice pass to have.
Right? Like, I have an enhanced concealed carry. I can carry into, like, some extra places, but I cannot carry, for sure, in a courtroom.
Mm-hmm. Well, back
I would
then,
immediately get thrown back into jail.
The majority of
back
gun
in the
crime
old West days, you couldn't.
Yeah. The majority of gun crime back then was actual criminals. Like, they basically criminalized legal people carrying guns massively since the 20s forward.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I mean, just bring it back to like reference True Grit again, where you just like check your gun at the door and on your way out you just pick it up again.
Right?
Or in Firefly, when they go into the bar and they have a big canister thing, they just put their guns in there and lock them up, give them a ticket.
Right? Why can't we go back to that? Oh, this. Yes. When he hands it, when they're taking off all the stuff out of his pockets and he sees that, it's like, I had a friend who lived at this address.
And then
Nitti got Jacob, guys. Nitti got Jacob.
He got Jacob too. He's in league with the raccoons.
Yeah.
The raccoons have an assassin now.
All the raccoons are wearing little white suits and carrying raccoon-sized Tommy guns.
No, they got Tommy guns.
Oh,
they all look like Rocket Raccoon with a fedora.
Make that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it plays out well because now Ness is stressed. The risk of rhyming.
Because he knows the person who killed his friend.
Because, well, even before that, because this guy's in there, and they search him, and he's not getting what he wants, which is, have him like take everything away. And so he pulls out a smoke because he's stressed out, and he just, like, out of spite, steals the matches. Because surely, if you're carrying around a pack of smokes, he had his own matches. I think he stole those out of spite.
Probably.
Yeah, but then you get that nice reveal. And he tells the bailiff, "Don't do it, because he knows what this dude's capable of."
Right? Like, I still don't understand why the bailiff, like, he is being told, do not pull a weapon on this man. Let him go. Do what he says.
I guess it also does suggest that more than just the judge were picked specifically to not be on the payroll of Capone, because otherwise the bailiff would have just, like, feigned something and let him go or whatever.
Right? this whole chase scene. I'm gonna tell you a thought that crossed my mind watching this chase scene, and him in his white suit and his nose and his face reminds me of Michael Jackson. There's a couple times where he spun. I was like,
Dude, when he shoots him like right at that point, I mean it looks like he hits him like straight in the forehead, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's
right?
because he's like wearing this little hat that's like a little bit higher up. Like it probably just nicks his hairline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like it went straight through here. I've seen a real video where a dude pulled the trigger on a shotgun and it didn't go off. He's wearing a hat just like kind of like mine, and he puts it down and he look as he's leaning over to look down the barrel. It goes off and blows a hole right here.
God,
just Darwin Award, just so close.
Yeah, I remember being told as a small child that one of the 10 things you never ever do is look down the barrel of a gun.
Unless you like what I was told was unless you are holding just the barrel of the gun in your hand and everything else is taken apart, you never ever look down the barrel.
Yep.
But having Glocks, you can take them apart pretty easy.
I do like. I'm actually complimenting more gun stuff than like earlier on. I would suggest because I've tried to not go back to being negative. They actually have the guns lock back whenever they're out, because we see that Nitty's gun is locked back. They don't draw attention to it. They don't make him just kind of like go and fiddle with it and then like throw it away or something. It's just
they don't continue to pretend to shoot the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jay, exactly. Hang fires are bad enough when you're pointing down range. You never know what's going to happen.
Right, because the gun could just explode in your hand.
I've had that happen to me once or twice at a range.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn.
You just have to sit there and have somebody go get the range officer and say, "What do you want me to do?"
Yep.
Yeah. So this is like when he's like first truly presented with like, can he be the man that he wants to be? Dilemma. He's bent the rules. He's done some other things. He's off people whenever he didn't want to, when he'd rather arrest them, but it was all in self-defense and things like that. But now he's thinking, I want to shoot this dude, but there's no way I can justify self-defense when he was hanging from a rope.
Mm-hmm.
That look in his eyes.
Yeah.
But then again, back then, no one would have cared if a cop did kill the guy like this. So,
right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, but it's personal conviction for him. It's not necessarily legal conviction.
Right.
No, it's a great movie scene. But I'm just saying, realistically, it's like, because we're out of the point of like all realism is gone now. Like
right, absolutely.
All historical realism is gone. So it's like, By the way, we are in the midst of a spam of Brian De Palma surrealism scenes. If you watch it live.
Yeah.
Like the scene with the sky behind his head, the sky was like amped to make it look brighter than it should, and all that,
But then this guy just had to go and
right, like he cracked an Irish joke, like a derogatory joke about how he squealed like a pig whenever he shot him.
Yeah, which he didn't. So it's like
because Sean Connery's a man.
Yeah,
does not squeal.
You damn scum! That ain't how you shoot a man. Shoot me here. Shoot me here. Shoot me here.
And then he escorts him to the edge.
Right.
And we get some not great compositing in this shot.
Yeah. Down here's a lovely view of the street.
No. It's on purpose. This is a Brian De Palma technique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's why when I meant this is the perfect scene. It's the most example of it. You see how it looks like he's like copy pasted over it almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a De Palma surrealism technique.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
very apparent.
And this is very easily like if somebody's like, what happened? Why is he fall? I was walking him and he tripped.
Like you know how Abram is known for that lens flare stuff. De Palma is known for this surrealism stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, now he's got your plausible deniability to say I was chasing him and he ran off the edge of the roof.
I was just helping him to his car. His car was right there.
Like he says,
I wanted to expedite his travel to the car.
Listen, we were high up.
Yeah.
It is called the Windy City, and he just got taken by the wind, and I couldn't save him.
Yep, I tried. I did everything I could to.
You can see on the fingerprints on his white jacket that I kind of swiped at him here. Actually, they didn't take fingerprints back then, right? So,
but they could have told. Like, I'm sure on a
It's fine,
white
too.
suit there was going to be like sweat marks or something. Like, yeah, see, it grabbed him. Whoops.
You know, I'm going to look that up.
Yeah,
but that's something I don't actually know.
I think they started doing fingerprints more in the 50s.
One of the things kept out of Nitty's jacket pocket when he got searched was what the paper that he had handed to Capone, and Capone had handed back was the payoff for all the jurors.
Yep.
Oh wow! So, just not to go nerdy on this, but I find this fascinating. So, in the 1850s, the first some British people started requiring fingerprinters for contract signatures, right? Then they did the science of it over the next couple of decades to further verify they're fairly unique and all that, right? And then in 1905-ish, the military started using them to record stuff, like to identify people. And then police started adopting it like right after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess a curious thing would be to see when police departments started to use fingerprints for like records.
Well, it says, 1905, U.S. military adopts use of fingerprints. Soon thereafter, police agency began to adopt use of fingerprints. 1908, the first official fingerprint card is developed. And then 1911, fingerprints are first accepted by U.S. courts as reliable means of identification. And then that same year, there was a state Supreme Court decision that said that they're admissible. So.
Okay.
And Thomas Jennings was the first person to be convicted of murder in the U.S. based on fingerprint evidence.
Sucks to be him.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the guy the Illinois Supreme Court upheld the conviction of. Yeah. And he was executed a year later.
Was it public?
I would have to look that up. You're sending me down a rabbit hole of information. My brain hates it, but I love it.
I mean, I don't want to sound like a madman, but they should be, just so that as a deterrent. But that's me. Never mind.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I was asking. So I'm glad you said that.
As Matt said, we are squarely in the fictionalized end of this. So the judge throws out the list because he says there's no precedent for this, whatever, which is no judge would do that.
Right.
Then that's when Ness calls him out and says you were in the ledger as well, even though he wasn't. And
Jennings
this is
hanged.
The jury swap.
Oh,
hanged. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice proper use of hanged as opposed to the other one that everybody says.
Yeah.
Well, I said the wrong one first and corrected myself. Yeah.
Those Tommy gun wielding raccoons, man, looking slick in their little fedoras and 3-piece suits.
And then he took another drive by Jacob's house.
They realized they missed him and that he was crawling his way back to the stream.
So we gotta go back.
Al Capone had a raccoon dinner that one of them didn't make it away because of that failure.
My job's not done yet.
Bandy here has failed the team.
Rocket here has decided to no longer be in service to us.
I want his stream dead. I want it dead.
Rocket crashed.
I want Mando to burn it to the ground.
Burn it with fire. No evidence. I love it. He's like, let's switch up the juries. And they're like, what? And it was at that moment that lawyer knew.
We were done.
It's like, all right, let's
do something.
Do
something.
So historically speaking, on my birthday, my date of my birth, June 5th, but in like 1930 or whatever, I don't remember that year, Capone was indicted by a grand jury in secret. I think it was like, I want to say 7,000 charges of violating the Volstead Act, or some ridiculous. Every accounting entry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then
wow.
He eventually, I don't remember the whole sequence of this, but the thing with the lawyer and the plea, that's a dramatization of it, but the lawyer sort of pled guilty for him while Capone wasn't there.
Mhm.
But that's part of legal proceedings. That's,
Yep, the lawyer's like, I'm not gonna be your lawyer anymore.
This is a
Interestingly
case I
enough,
cannot win.
Capone died in prison about 8 years later, but he was already dying of syphilis and gonorrhea.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he already like syphilis. People don't know this. Syphilis will eventually rot your brain away, and
Mhm.
Yeah,
so he was already on the rotting your brain.
Wow.
if left untreated.
That's a
Look
J.J.
how
Abrams
bright
scene
that
right there.
flashes. Yeah.
They shot him for film one scene.
Kind of reminds me of like a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Spotlight.
Oh my God! Who gave Capone a nuclear bomb? The city's done. If I can't stop losing the city, you'll all die.
You don't know what I have up my sleeve.
Nitty, take them all out.
Plot twist: it was actually the Nez's wife that was working for Capone, and she just guns everyone down.
Yeah.
Not really how it happened. That is just make believe.
So you
Fan
say,
fiction.
Which
side.
one of Ness's wives?
I
He was
think it
married
would have
like
been the
7 times,
first
maybe
wife
number.
because I imagine the first wife was probably a little peeved because I'm sure this man probably made a lot of money or was very famous for this case. So
Yeah.
Well,
That picture is great, though.
He was a lifelong civil servant,
Yeah.
and then when he retired, though, he started to make just as he was starting to make money. Like when his book came out, it was a big hit. He died that year. So it's
like I'm done.
I think several of his ex-wives outlived him.
I think so too. I only heard of 4. Did he have more than that?
I thought I'd say at least 4 or 5. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know him well enough to so I'm tempted to. I have so many books I have to read. Do I want to add his book to the list?
Yes.
It'll be like 507th in the queue.
Jeez.
well, you don't get to know everything without reading almost everything else.
I am so old now. I'm 51. That the list of books I both want to read that I've never read and that I want to reread is so long. I cannot possibly live long enough to complete those lists.
Wow.
Pick and choose, my friend. Pick and choose.
I do like this little exchange here at the end where he hands off the key and the cigar punch and the everything to. He said like he would want it to go to a cop. Like,
Yeah.
It was fitting that I went to him though as well.
Mm-hmm.
I liked this one.
agree.
Okay, I'm looking it up here. Spouses of Elliot Ness. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're at 4.
Ah, yes, 4. And I love the news guy. He's like, so they're thinking about overturning prohibition. What are you gonna do? Have a drink?
Go have a drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That is the only appropriate answer. The only answer.
Like I
And
feel like. Go ahead.
Oh, it's a good answer for him too because it shows that he wasn't against it. He was just a law-abiding guy.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
It plays perfectly into his character that we've seen the entire film.
Yes,
Yep.
he is a
Don't break the law.
law-abiding.
Right.
Like, and I think that's also. And I haven't done a whole awful lot of research on prohibition that time period, but I know enough that I think the actual worst part of prohibition were the people thinking that the people who wanted prohibition hated alcohol. Because that wasn't all of them. Like this, the reporter assumed this guy hates alcohol. It's like, no,
Well, he was not a prohibitionist.
Right.
The prohibition was arguably the least enforced U.S. set of laws in U.S. history. And interestingly enough, so years later, one of Ness's family members opened a brewery and named a beer after him.
Huh.
Beer.
Oh,
Watch out, Jacob.
I had to.
You stepped too far, Jacob. You know.
Oh,
Oh,
there's so
no.
many of them. They
that happens
multiply.
regularly outside my front door.
Whoa.
Luckily, I have a record sawed-off shotgun.
Very nice.
I'll forgive
very
you.
nice.
But my Tommy gun don't.
My Tommy gun's not sawed off.
I was gonna try to go one stream without bringing up like a raccoon or like art image, but I just couldn't help it happen.
Never.
One too many
never
times.
Never not bring up
Those are great.
raccoon art.
Yeah, the worst thing about prohibition was even if they got rid of it. So like I'm an Italian American. All my family would make all sorts of like beers and wines and liquors in their basements and whatever for the country. But it became illegal to make a lot of stuff on your own. And then even after prohibition became legal, when they decriminalized it, when it back legal, like the booze legal again, they only did it for the corporations basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it took decades and decades to get of lawsuits and whatever. And I think, did they finally get it to where you can make your own spirits again, or is that still illegal?
You can.
It's state by state.
Yeah, it depends on the state, but
federally, the ATF, they don't go after, like, it's like marijuana, like it's legal and something, but it's still federally banned or whatever.
Right.
ATF will go after people who make booze, right? Like spirits. But they don't always. But states where it's legal, they don't cooperate, so they don't have the resources to find them.
Mm-hmm.
God, the ATF sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
MATF. MATF.
Well, I mean, they're
more
just
alcohol,
enforcing the
firearms,
laws that are
tobacco.
created. I mean, and what the reality is, like if you're going to pass laws that do something, you got to have someone who enforces, or you might as well just not waste time passing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, like also, I feel like, and this is where dipping the toe into politics on this show, like the government's job is not to micromanage your life. If you want to go out and smoke 15 packs of cigarettes a day, like have at it. I don't think the government should decide that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. If you want to go out and drink a whole handle of something, like that's your prerogative. Whatever things happen after that point, whether you make a stupid decision or you put yourself in the hospital because of alcohol poisoning, like that's on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like there are a lot of bad things that could happen from abuse of substances, but the government shouldn't be telling you to do this or do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you smoke 15 packs a day, you might get lung cancer.
Oh yeah.
The government shouldn't stop you from doing that. They can put warnings on, obviously like the labels say, hey, this product might cause cancer.
My pipe is downstairs, dang it.
But at the same time, it's like, don't regulate things that need to be regulated.
Right. Like there are things they could be doing. There are better things they could be doing with their time than telling someone stop smoking that cigarette. Like,
yeah, I mean, especially like with the ATF, I think with guns too. I mean, it's an interesting topic just because there are plenty of people out there that own guns, and I think for more of the southern states too, right? Like, it's
Right.
just people have like hobbies, people have ammunition businesses, people just love to go to the shooting range or go hunting. Yeah, I mean, it is enjoyable. There's just something about it that whether it's a competition or again, whether it's shooting targets or you're hunting, there's something about it that people enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with that. So for the ATF to be invested and be like, we need to see what these people are doing and regulate that just because they're doing these things like that, that they enjoy, that can't be done.
Well,
that we need
just
to
remember,
stop
only
that.
quote I'm saying is, it's Congress and the executive who we elect who make them do that.
oh yeah,
for sure,
absolutely.
100%.
Keep the
100%.
keep the focus on the right fools. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right. It's one of those like too many people. The problem with the democratic republic and a democracy in general is if the people are not paying attention, the whole point of the government is the people paying attention.
Yep.
Like, sorry. That's just
Agreed.
how it is.
Yep, it is.
Agreed.
Which is why prohibition shouldn't have happened anyway.
just a little follow up for the the Untouchables TV show. So his book was the basis for the movie and the sort of first arc of the TV show, which was getting Capone, right? So then they wanted to do the whole 4 years of the TV show. The first season, I always watched bits of the show because my family loved it when I was a kid, so they watched the repeats, and all that. But I did read about it, and I don't know how true it is to say this, but there's a lot of controversy because there was a lot of very stereotypically Italians in the first season. So much so that there were national complaints about it, and Desi Arnaz, who ran Desi Productions, made it, publicly apologized and rewrote the show just to not make Italian Americans look all like gangsters and raise the prominence of one of the Italian Untouchables. So
that's interesting. I mean, I never watched the
it is
TV series actually.
Yeah, I only watched some episodes of it because when you're a kid and your family loves that stuff, you're like, oh, I'm playing with toys. Oh, there's the Untouchable on TV. It's like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like when I'm almost there was one TV for the entire family.
Right.
Like
I remember
we got
those
TVs
days.
in our own. I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
TV.
So let's go around and give our final thoughts and a rating. Here.
Overall, really liked it. Very small things here and there that just kind of annoyed me. Probably some of them that most people weren't annoyed by, but they're not big enough to really dock it too many points. I'm pretty picky with my scores, so I would probably go maybe a 7.5 out of 10 right now. But I could see that bumping up to an 8 if I go back and rewatch at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Mando.
Mine's about the same, like 7.5 to 8. Really enjoyed it. There was just a couple like little bitty nitpicky things, like Beard said. I love like old mob movies, stuff like this, like that talks about like real historic, like even if they embellish it and get so many things wrong, I like historical films like that.
Yeah.
Yep. How about you, Matt?
Like a 7 out of 10. I like the actors more than I like the story. My biggest problem with the movie is the ending. Like, they complain about the Return of the King ending with like the 7 epilogues. Like this movie felt like it had 2 or 3 epilogues, and not in a good way,
Right.
But other than that, I mean, I enjoyed the middle of it a lot. When they got into the sort of getting the booze and the character acting and all that sort of stuff, and has a great soundtrack despite being horribly recorded, as we talked about earlier. So it's like a 7 out of 10 type of thing,
Okay. Nick?
Not because of and not despite just Kevin Costner. He was just a
Any movie that has Sean Connery in it for me is automatically at least a 5.
Bumps it up.
It starts out as a 5.
Can you wait for the day when you could throw a movie into an AI and erase Kevin Costner and maybe have like John Wayne play that role or something?
Sean Wayne and Kevin. That'd have
been pretty
Sean
epic.
Connery. Ah!
That would have been epic. Yeah, I mean, I love mob movies. I think this is one of the mob movies that gets overlooked sometimes when you're talking about some other like bigger ones, right? Like, Godfather Part 1, Part 2, Goodfellas, Casino, right? Like all like the super, super popular ones. And I think for the time that this came out, it was definitely well received. And I think, again, having Sean Connery in this movie lifted it up a lot more, because Kevin Costner's, very young at this point. He hasn't been in a whole lot, so he hasn't, made a super big name for himself yet. And obviously this is one of those movies for him that really helped his career out. But I do think that it's not a perfect movie by any means. There are some things like that Beard said that, people have issues with, myself included, especially in the third act, there's a couple things, but I mean, not to really take away with the time that this was all filmed, because there were some great cinematic shots and scenes, and some of the action shots were good and believable. The gun work was obviously an issue, but now more than ever realizing it. But I think for me, it definitely kind of sits at like an 8 out of 10. I don't think it really, to me, it goes higher than that just because of some of the things. And again, Connery won an award for this movie, so his performance and dialogue and everything really shows like how much of a supporting actor he was in this movie to make this movie like that good on all of our rating skills. So
right before this movie, well, within the 2 or 3 movies before this, De Palma did was probably the best mob comedy film of all time, Wise Guys, with Joe Piscopo and DeVito, I think.
Yes, I think it was DeVito.
Yeah,
right. That sounds right.
DeVito. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm right there with you about 8. I'd give it an 8. Yeah, enjoyable movie, and it's one you can watch over again too. So that's always good. But,
yeah, Piscopo and Harvey Keitel and Danny DeVito. Yep. Definitely recommend watching that for people, especially if you haven't seen it first.
There's also an older movie. I think it's called an FBI Story, but it's Jimmy Stewart, and it's kind of the same deal as this, but it's the story of the FBI starting and its fight against the mob and stuff. So it's not bad. I'm probably going to cover it on my channel at some point. Yeah,
nice.
I actually recently saw kind of a documentary about how some FBI agents are kind of like wishing they hadn't taken down the mob, because without the mob, to fill that power vacuum, this is where we get like MI6 or all of the Mexican and all the other gangs kind of filling that void. And they're a lot worse than the mob.
Well, I mean, just to speak to it semi-culturally, I guess, prior to drugs, there was a sort of détente between the mobs, the Italian mob, and like the mobs we had, the Irish and Italian mobs, and the cops. Like there were limits, you know what I mean? And then the drug business destroyed. Like then they started killing everyone, and that's why they had to take them down, because they were becoming just like an American drug cartel, basically.
Yeah, that movie is the FBI Story, 1959.
Okay. An oldie.
But yeah. So yeah, let's go around the horn and plug anything. Beard.
Oh, well, I'm kind of all over the place. Shortly after this, I'll be streaming some more Fallout London on my channel. I still have to set that up because I just didn't manage my time again today. Next up, I think for me, otherwise, is Roman of the Empire stream. I can't remember exactly what we're doing there, but it's always a good time and probably going to be crazy with a lot of cursing. Sunday afternoons, you can find me with Stark of Iron talking some Fallout, and Monday evenings, you can find me on After the Weekend reviewing some old movies, typically from the 80s and 90s, like our childhood stuff that we grew up. And if that is a lot to handle, oh, dang it, I forgot I was in the thing here. All right, I'll try to put it in the chat, because I just created a link tree with like times and links to all the channels, because nobody remembers most of what I say. So there you go.
Of course, we're distracted by the
Mando.
Yeah, so I've been house sitting for the past like week and a half, almost 2 weeks. So they are supposed to be getting back either tomorrow or early the next day. So I will probably be back in my normal setting and start streaming again eventually. Yay! But for now, everything's kind of up in the air. I'll be on Roman's channel, and then I will be with Inside All Day Podcast or Inside All Day Gaming with Nadia and the gang throwing the math rocks around. And we're in 1920s era America. Well, no, we're technically in Egypt right now. But yeah, we're doing a Call of Cthulhu conversion to 5e campaign.
Nice.
Matt, or the Unbearables.
Yes, soon Mando will return home and broadcast from our throne of fire live. As you might have noticed a change in my background here. Jacob and I's reading of the Little Golden Book about Bob Ross is posting tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
a little preview.
That was surprisingly good.
Yeah, if you want your kid to learn about Bob Ross, which they should, this is the book for it. Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah, and then that's what else? I should be reviewing. To show it, I have to get rid of the background now. Unfortunately, they should have a button for this. Like you hit a button and it goes away or whatever. You know.
I mean, if you have a Stream Deck.
Yeah, I'll be reviewing my two newest Rippaverse books, Yaira and the game. Yeah.
Nice.
And if you like horror comics, this is the collection of 32 issues of a comic series that finished about 4 years ago called Harrow County. It's based on American folklore. So I'll be doing a review of this story. Not too spoiler because I don't want to ruin it because it's a really good story. But I've shown the artwork off on my channel when I open these, so maybe a 10-15 minute little talk about it. It's very well worth the read if you love horror comics. And someday I'll have time to record my review of Sharp Season 4, Episode 2, Sharp Siege. Hopefully by this weekend. See. And Roman stream tomorrow. Thursday, which I think is a just
free range
stream. Yeah, free range.
Open range.
I'll be on Wednesday at Overbooked. Sorry, what's it?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Wednesday night is Overbooked, which is a wrestling stream I do with Joker Voice, a couple other dudes. And Jacob and I are on my Friday Fandemonium stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you'll have another little golden book read, which we'll tell you then. Tune in. It's like,
I always call Roman stream open range.
I mean, because I do simulcast on there, I have Home on the Range as all of my thumbnails anytime we do a free range. It's awesome. I get questions like, why do you have Home on the Range? I'm like, because it's free range.
Yes, right. Nick, you got anything?
Yeah. So my co-host and I, Austin, we are starting to put a lot more videos. We finally got our Deadpool Wolverine video out. Just kind of going over some likes and dislikes, but got another video out coming on tomorrow on the Saturday Night movie. So if everyone's ever seen Saturday Night Live, you know of that whole story. But I guess there's a movie coming out in October, which I didn't even know was happening. But I'm intrigued by the trailer, and I like the old school golden era of SNL with all the great comedians.
Yeah.
When jokes were allowed to be funny and didn't offend people. So we got a video on that, and we're going to be putting some more stuff out on D23, a couple other officially released trailers. I know there's been a bunch of leaked ones. So we'll kind of wait on doing those, but we just got tickets to go see the new Aliens Romulus movie. So we're going to see that Friday night. So we're going to put something out on that as well. And then future wise, I know I'll be back here a couple times for some upcoming movies in the coming months. And then I think in September, we'll be doing a weekly stream on the Penguin with Nadia and crew. So on the Inside All Day podcast. So that'll be fun.
Cool.
Hopefully getting into some gaming content sometime soon. So maybe when Space Marine 2 drops, might start streaming that because I love Warhammer 40K.
Heard good things.
Yeah. It should be pretty fun, especially co-op. So fingers crossed doesn't get ruined in any way.
Don't talk it. You could bring it into existence.
I know. That's why I'm not trying to say anything. Just it's gonna be good. That's it. It's gonna be good. It'll be fun. I promise.
I went ahead and spammed the chat with links for folks. So
sick.
If anyone's still here or anybody is watching the replay later, it's all right there. And I'm sure Jacob will probably update the
it's also
description with everything.
Yeah, it's all in the description. So
all right, cool.
Yeah. Sweet. So for me, I will also be on Roman's show, and usually I'm a kind of a co-host on Matt's show on Friday evening. I think I may be on Potato Ravens channel that evening also. And next week, we'll be going over the movie 3:10 to Yuma, 1957. So, one of my personal favorite Westerns right there. Love it. And also, yeah, we'll be having a it's called Call of Cthulhu Horror on the Orient Express. And that will be a bi-weekly play of that, and it starts the 24th. So that'll be fun. And that's all I got. And thanks everybody for being on. Thanks to Nick for being on.
Yeah.
And thanks to the chat for hanging. And I hope everybody has a good week, and we will see y'all next time. Later.
Bye.